Click-clack, old machinery climbs to the top as it did for more than 100 years. It takes visitors from every corner of the world to a special place where they can enjoy breathtaking views 1,000 feet up in the skies. A delicate lattice of pipes, bars, steel beams and cables keeps this marvel of engineering in place. 3 floors, 3 viewing platforms. You can take the stairs halfway up, but to get to the crow's nest, you have to take a small elevator. Click-clack, climbing up so high that for decades nobody had any doubt. This was the top of the world. It's an inspiration for artists, gift merchants, and painters selling their wares nearby. Surrounding parks are a favorite spot for local residents and visitors. From a distance, it looks like a toy set awkwardly in the middle of an old town. It sparkles at night, a dazzling beacon on the river. A toy indeed, a playful place for those who come here on vacation and for those who want to proclaim their eternal love. Welcome to Paris. Welcome to the Eiffel Tower. Click-clack. 284 stone steps lead to the top of these crazy stairs, to the top of this colossus, 160 feet tall. Located centrally in Paris, with 12 streets leading to and out of it, its concept was based on a Titus arch in Rome. This giant structure sits in the middle of Square Charles de Gaulle. It's hardly a square though, as 12 major streets, including famous Champs-Élysées, meet here at a roundabout. Access to the building is through the underground tunnels, which also hide the Paris metro. Just about every part of the city is visible from here: the Eiffel Tower, the Old City, Montmartre, Tower of Montparnasse, and the Louvre. Click-clack. Climb to the top of the arch, if you dare. Seine River meanders through Paris under 37 bridges. It's a place for relaxation, meetings, and romance. For centuries, click-clack of paddle and sailboats resonated through the city. Not so much today, as they were replaced with tourboats zipping along the river. A boat ride is a different perspective of this beautiful city.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome aboard Bateau Parisien. During this cruise, we're going to pass under 22 bridges and we will discover music and major monuments of Paris. The commentary will be played in earphones, which you can find behind each seat, but only on the lower decks.
Wonderful architecture of cathedrals, churches, and train stations, all in fluid motion, brings smiles to the faces of the visitors. From a boat, you can see things and events not always visible from a street level. I like my fisheye lens It gives me yet another perspective on bridges, old and new. Some as they were built centuries ago, and some still marvels of the modern age. Either way, they are charming and even more interesting from this angle. Competition on the river is stiff, and this little guy had no chance against us. Beautiful French flags everywhere. This proud nation joined the European Union, but they've never forgotten their heritage. Paris Metro, an amazing network of underground tunnels and train tracks which can take you to just about anywhere in the city. This was our stop, Bir Hakeim, near our hotel. That was an elevated platform station, unlike many others which are perfectly hidden and only a handful of exits is visible on the surface. These trains are relatively fast, but not as fast as this bullet. CGV is a French version of a Japanese maglev. The record speed was registered at over 500 kilometers per hour. That's a lot of click-clack. These candles burn at Notre Dame Cathedral. Built in 12th century, this awe-inspiring church stands almost unchanged on a small island in the middle of Seine River. Intricate sculptures cover portals and doors. Its towers hide 10 massive bells. We have visited Notre Dame Treasury, a collection of silver, gold, and diamond-encrusted insignia of the Catholic Church, priceless artifacts from centuries ago. Pope hats, tunics, and antique Bibles. Portraits of the popes, small and large. It was truly an honor to see these unique historical gems. Here we have medieval handwritten medallions. These candlesticks were used for Napoleon's coronation. The cathedral has 2 altars, back to back, perhaps even more. Countless stained glass windows stretch from floor to ceiling in a typical Gothic style. They show biblical stories and messages for those who couldn't read in medieval times. For centuries, clergy and faithful people of Paris walked these floors, and loud click-clack of their shoes echoed all around them. This place speaks for itself. Probably the most famous cabaret in Paris, not that far away from a Place Pigalle, a red light district. If you want to hear click-clack of dancers' shoes, go to Moulin Rouge. Santa dancing can-can? Oh la la! If you get tired of big city noise, skyscrapers and iron towers, take a deep breath and forget it all. An hour walk from the Eiffel Tower or a 15-minute ride on a metro will take you to a magical place known as Montmartre. Cobblestone streets of old Europe will take you to a world of yesteryear when people lived slower lives and they've known their neighbors. A tiny cafe with 8 tables greets their regular guests as it did 100 years ago. These little cheese shops with dozens of flavors, wine stores and boutiques have been here for generations. Ready for lunch? Grab a sandwich. Ice cream? There is a shop with it too. Need a pair of earrings for a loved one's birthday? Here is a creperie for a tasty supper. A cobbler might fix your broken shoe just like his father did decades ago, and when it's all done and ready, get a bottle of French champagne. This place is a charming oasis. If I ever go to Paris again, I will stay here. Today's corporate world tries to encroach on this magical place, but I don't see them succeeding too much. When you go to Montmartre, you're not going to look for Starbucks. We've stayed at Versailles Hotel, 12 miles away from a center of Paris, just across the street from the palace. The hotel was decorated to match the atmosphere. They've offered us a tasty breakfast buffet with baguettes, pastries, fresh coffee, and an assortment of French cheeses. Le Figaro sealed the deal. We were ready to see the palace. The main entrance doesn't quite give you a perspective of what's to come. This was supposed to be a village retreat or a hunting lodge for Louis XIV, but soon it grew to an ultimate royal palace of Europe. The Sun King made it a cultural center, a standard for food, art, table manners, and architecture, though Versailles was a mix of styles, mostly Baroque and Rococo. You can see the influence of Roman and Greek art, Venus and Caesars. These symbols and their nudity were unheard of just 200 years earlier. The styles of 17th and 18th century were surprisingly frivolous. Apollo and sun symbols decorate ceilings and walls in this never-ending chain of rooms connected by official corridors and hidden passages where servants scurried quietly. The Hall of Mirrors was a symbol of opulence and indulgence, a symbol of power and dominance, as glass mirrors were an ultimate luxury of the era. a royal bedchamber. Here the Sun King rose in the morning and retreated in the evening. Only the selected few had access to this room, and those who did considered themselves privileged. When the royal family wanted to escape politics and bustle of the main palace, they retreated to Grand Trianon, a smaller building deep in the gardens. Here they've had a little more privacy, even more so at Petit Trianon, yet another retreat from the retreat. This is where the royal family of Louis XIV ruled for almost 70 years. Not all of them were aware of an incredible social divide of their country. 17 million peasants, farmers and city dwellers served to 150,000 spoiled rotten nobles and royals and 200,000 members of clergy. There was no democracy, no equal law for everyone. These who were entitled ran the show, and they didn't have to worry about consequences. No wonder people of France have finally said enough and invited the rulers to a date with Madame Guillotine. Click-clack, the king is dead. During the centuries-long reign of French royalty from Versailles, horse-drawn carriages were much more than vehicles. These which survived the revolution are here, in the museum, just across the street from Versailles Palace gates. It's often missed by visitors, though if you just stand at this monument and turn around, the carriage museum is right there, only a few steps away. The ostentatious luxury was meant to dazzle and awe the subjects wherever the king showed up. An extension of the throne, the royal carriages were made by France's best craftsmen and artists. Goldsmiths, carpenters, engineers, and tanners worked for months to assemble these vehicles. A 4-ton gold-plated coach was so massive and had to have been drawn by 8 horses. It was used in the coronation of Charles X in 1825. 8 horses must have echoed pretty loudly with their click-clack of 32 horseshoes. Napoleon was known to ride in luxury also, and some of his imperial insignia are still here. This hearse took Louis XVIII to his final resting place. Château Fontainebleau, 60 miles away from Versailles, was a country home for many kings. Much smaller than the Versailles, it was still an opulent place to live. Built in the 17th century, it quickly became a popular residence for royal families, nobility, and later the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Perhaps the most amazing collection here are the Napoleon's memorabilia. Emperor's pistols, sword and clothing, and the famous hat and the war coat. Here is a tent room. as it was used in the wars. Napoleon toiletries were fit for a king. This is the real deal, the priceless artifacts, the history of France. They had no television, computers, or telephones. Their entertainment was art, music, extravagant food, and games. Painted art, pictures, murals, and fresks were truly admired by people of the era. They were obsessed with filling every empty space of their homes with more and more painted art. And then there was music. Those who could afford it listened to it live, composed yesterday, played tomorrow. Music had a place in this grand ballroom. Imagine nobles and royals shuffling around, dipping graciously to chamber music, click-clack of their shoes, jewelry, and musical instruments filled the silence. Today, the only people shuffling around are tourists. This is the only surviving real French throne of the kings. This is where Napoleon ruled, and here is his bedroom. If you ever visit Paris, take a short trip to Fontainebleau. It's an amazing place and truly a historical landmark. Click-clack. 100-years-old machinery brings visitors back down from a crow's nest in the skies. It's time to go home. Wait, what is this guy doing here? Hey, Mr. Bombastic, stop chasing me around the world. These 7 days passed in a blink of an eye. It felt like a dream. Goodbye, Paris. If I see you again, I'll spend a little more time here, because you have so much to offer. I've heard yet another click-clack in Paris. The sound of soldiers' shoes and their guns needed to protect this beautiful city. A sad reality of a crazy world we live in. It doesn't always work first time. At Trocadero Square, there was a crowd of people so intense we've had no chance of taking any shots or videos. And there is the finger in the lens. I have to learn to stop doing that. A police car got in the middle of my shot. It could have been a nice one, but it didn't work. And there is a rusty pole. Sometimes somebody gets into your shot trying to catch some rain. And there is a finger again. Watch the right lower corner. There it is. I've recorded over 2 minutes of this steel wire mesh on the boat. I forgot that the camera was rolling, and I've recorded 2 minutes of this useless material. I have to learn to watch my LEDs. A crowd of people walking back and forth ruined the shot of a National Assembly. Well, I couldn't tell them to go away. This is what the professional movie makers call hosing. A nice panoramic object filmed so fast that a viewer has not a chance to notice any details. I need to slow down sometimes. Nice view of a flag, ruined by some junk in the corner. An Airbus A320 at O'Hare Airport, and a nice sunset. And I got distracted by a Dreamliner of Lot Polish Airlines. A crowd of people was yucking their mouths out on the way to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Just listen. At this point, I just wanted to turn around and yell at them to shut up and enjoy the view.